Power to the people. When it comes to the debate over our Second Amendment rights, it seems that we, the people, do have some power. And I don't want to get ahead of myself or get my hopes up too high, but it seems that we're having some effect. Yesterday we were greeted by the news that the assault weapons ban that Senator Feinstein wants so badly isn't going to make it out of committee in the Senate, although she still hopes to bring it to the floor as an amendment. Given the makeup of the House of Representatives and the atmosphere in the Senate, it doesn't appear that at least that part of her desired changes would take effect. Here in New York State, we're finally starting to get a little bit of sanity to this horrible gun bill that was rammed through by Governor Cuomo and the Democrats in the legislature kind of in the dark of night, with some really bad provisions in it, one of them being a 7-round magazine limit. One of the problems being that nobody makes a 7-round magazine, and nobody intends to, which makes it problematic not only for people who want to buy guns in New York, but for gun shops that try to make a living here. Also, it was announced today that there might be some movement on that to allow 10-round magazines. And I think that's in large part due to, here in New York, the overwhelming response from good, ordinary, law-abiding, gun-owning citizens. There was a rally in Albany on the 28th of February. Busload after busload went down there, talked to state legislators, held a little rally there. I say little rally, it was large. There was a lot of people went down there. And I think that, the legislators kind of took note. New York is a funny place because you've got downstate by New York City that is overwhelmingly Democratic and, anti-gun, if you will. You have upstate, which is much more rural and largely, in most places, Republican and much more in favor of gun owners' rights. The problem being that there are a lot more people downstate than there are upstate. So when it comes to state government in offices like the governor, Andrew Cuomo, he doesn't necessarily need the votes of the people upstate because he's got enough of them downstate. But when you start talking about members of the state legislature, it gets a little tougher. You got some people in some of these areas that might be vulnerable politically, so they tend to listen a little bit more to the arguments of those upstate, especially on this gun issue. So, while it's not a good law, and certainly in most ways it's still a bad law, at least there might be some bit of sanity restored to the final product after they get done making amendments. And this attitude, I guess, seems to be beyond just New York, to be nationwide, and hopefully when we get all through with this and all the posturing is done and all the hyperbole is done, that either on a national level we'll end up with a bill that at the very least won't do too much harm. That's probably the best we can hope for. To ask the politicians of any sort to just leave things alone unless they can do something that's going to be helpful is asking too much, because quite frankly they want to do something, and oftentimes that something ends up doing more harm than good, and really the most we can hope for is something that's not going to do too much harm. So hopefully we're heading that direction. I think it's a victory for the people and a statement to the power of the people when they act peaceably and responsibly and like grown-ups. Until next time, SasquatchCamp.com. Thank you.